What if I told you the rest of the NFL is one trade deadline deal away from a complete and utter nightmare? Imagine an absolute powerhouse landing the ultimate offensive weapon to completely break the league open. Before we dive into how this blockbuster trade completely reshapes the football landscape, make sure to like this video, share it with your fellow football fanatics, and smash that subscribe button to stay updated on all major league updates. The national media is completely buzzing right now because a massive prediction has just been dropped, and it sends shockwaves straight through the league. We are talking about a hypothetical midseason blockbuster that has superstar running back Jonathan Taylor getting traded away from the Indianapolis Colts at the upcoming deadline. According to expert analysis, Jonathan Taylor is approaching the final year of his current deal, forcing Indianapolis to make a brutal decision on whether they want to commit to a massive third contract for a 27-year-old back. Let's be real for a second. How often do you see an NFL running back make it that deep into their career with a single team and still secure the bag? If Indianapolis stumbles out of the gate and undergoes a massive organizational shift midseason, Jonathan Taylor is going to be the biggest prize on the trade block. A true championship contender with solid change of pace options but lacking a definitive, elite three-down bell cow would jump at the chance to acquire him as a high-stakes rental. And that is exactly why this specific destination makes flawless, terrifying sense. Jonathan Taylor running in an outside zone scheme where he can simply read the block, find the crease, and explode would be absolutely unstoppable. Honestly, he remains one of the most criminally underappreciated superstars in the entire country. He has spent the last few seasons battling through an unstable situation in Indianapolis, but let's not forget that through his first 10 games last season, he was playing at a literal MVP caliber level. Even though a running back winning MVP is nearly impossible in the modern era, the man racked up nearly 1,200 rushing yards in just a 10-game stretch. He has been a dominant, unguardable force his entire career. Now, some critics might point out that the current backfield already has established names. DeAndre Swift is coming off a career-best 2025 season, but the narrative surrounding him has always been about reliability and a history of injuries earlier in his career. While his recent durability has been solid, you have to ask a tough question: have we already seen the absolute ceiling of DeAndre Swift? Is there really anything left to unlock, or is he simply a solid starter at his best and an inconsistent, frustrating player to watch at his worst? Behind him, Kyle Manengai is a highly capable, physical thumper, but critics argue he shouldn't be trusted with more than 10 touches a game. While he handled that workload well as a rookie, he could easily stretch to 12 or 15 carries if the situation demanded it. But here is the beauty of a potential blockbuster deal: if you bring in a titan like Jonathan Taylor, he instantly becomes the undisputed focal point. You can actually keep Jonathan Taylor's total touches relatively managed to prolong his longevity, because Kyle Manengai is talented enough to give him crucial breathers. Question of the day: would you be willing to sacrifice a future first-round draft pick to bring Jonathan Taylor into this offense, or would you pass on the hefty price tag? Drop your thoughts in the comments below right now. I want to see a massive debate down there. Just picture the schematic genius of an offense that already led the entire league in rushing success rate last year, courtesy of elite offensive line play and masterful coaching design. Now, inject a certified home run hitter like Jonathan Taylor into that equation. Once he breaks into the secondary, it is lights out for the defense. While the current committee backfield is comfortable for the long haul, an elite coordinator is always searching for that true, dynamic, game-breaking superstar out of the backfield. Jonathan Taylor is just a completely different breed of athlete. Look at what he has done over the past 2 seasons for a franchise that has been a total quarterback wasteland. Even with unstable passing games, he has been a relentless force, sitting second in the entire NFL in rushing over the last 2 years, trailing only Derrick Henry. In fact, they are the only 2 running backs in the entire league to clear the 3,000-yard rushing milestone over that span. To make matters even scarier, he has completely evolved his game. Known primarily as a pure runner early on, he just posted career-high numbers through the air with 46 receptions for 320 yards. He doesn't need to be a prime pass-catching specialist, but his ability to dominate screen designs and move the chains on third down makes him a multidimensional nightmare. If he actually becomes available, Every single decision maker in the front office needs to be on the phone immediately. But could a transaction of this magnitude actually manifest in reality? Right now, Indianapolis appears to be completely locked in. They committed massive money to their quarterback position and even gave up 2 future first-round picks to land a superstar cornerback like Sauce Gardner at the previous deadline. They are actively trying to win football games right now, meaning their front office and coaching staff are facing immense pressure and burning hot seats. But a quick glance at their opening schedule reveals an absolute gauntlet. They open up against a brutal stretch featuring Baltimore, Kansas City, and Houston. Following that bloodbath, they travel to London to face Washington, head into a physical battle in Pittsburgh, host Tennessee, and then face consecutive road games against Minnesota and Jacksonville. By the time they clash with Dallas in Week 9, right at the doorstep of the November trade deadline, this team could easily be sitting on a disastrous 2-7 or 3-6 record. Remember, Indianapolis surrendered their first-round draft asset for next year. If their quarterback situation implodes and the losses pile up, does it make any sense for them to sign Jonathan Taylor to a third massive contract extension? Absolutely not. Instead, the organization would likely trigger a complete structural reset, clearing out the front office and coaching staff. If they can flip Jonathan Taylor for a package centered around the first-round draft pick, they suddenly buy their way back into the quarterback sweepstakes for next off-season. Without that premium draft capital, they are completely paralyzed and unable to move up for a franchise signal caller. From a championship hunting perspective, adding a dynamic piece of Jonathan Taylor's caliber elevates the entire roster into a completely different tier of Super Bowl contention. Let's look at a few potential trade packages that could realistically fly across the table. The first scenario is a straight-up trade for a future first-round draft pick. Now, let's be completely clear. You only surrender a premium first-round asset if Jonathan Taylor is having an MVP-caliber season and a long-term contract extension is locked into place before the ink dries. You absolutely do not give up a first-round pick for a half-season rental. If you are a legitimate Super Bowl contender, that draft selection is going to fall in the late 20s or 30s anyway, making it a price worth paying to secure a ring. If a first-round pick feels too steep, the second blueprint involves a package featuring a second-round pick and a fourth-round pick. If Indianapolis is desperate to rebuild their asset pool and Jonathan Taylor is performing at his usual elite standard, a second-round pick plus mid-round sweeteners is highly realistic and protects your premium capital. The third and most chaotic trade concept involves sending a second-round pick, a fifth-round pick, and established running back DeAndre Swift directly to Indianapolis. This gives them a starting caliber player to immediately plug into their backfield, and they could even give him a short-term extension to stabilize their offense through 2027. If Indianapolis prefers a younger asset with multiple years of team control, they might demand a piece like Kyle Manengai instead of an expiring contract like DeAndre Swift, which would completely alter the draft pick compensation required to seal the deal. Pulling the trigger on a second and fourth round package feels like the ultimate sweet spot. Giving up a first-round pick right now in a vacuum feels incredibly risky. But if this team jumps out to a dominant 7-2 start at the deadline, looks entirely like a contender, and believes an elite superstar running back is the final piece to bring a Lombardi Trophy home, you make that move every single day of the week. Both teams have to trend in completely opposite directions for this to happen, but the stars are aligning perfectly for a deadline blockbuster that could completely alter NFL history.